Alright, so we're live. So welcome to the Mobile CSP Hangout, October 6th, 2014. Um, gonna do a screen share here. Okay. You see the agenda that's up.
Yep.
So we'll just start with some brief introductions. You start by saying your name, what school you're from, and where your school is located, and what lesson you're currently on. And there are some who couldn't make it, and we can go through what they had to say. Um, so, Laura, do you want to start?
Laura Grover. I'm at Philby Cathedral High School. I just finished Unit 2 on Wednesday. They're going to have their test, their first test. Actually, I'm going to start 3.1 tomorrow because they just wanted the test on Wednesday, and I don't want to wait any longer. So we're starting the next unit, and then they'll test the day after that.
Okay.
Okay.
And we have
Hey,
Matt
Matt.
here.
Can you hear us, Matt?
Yep, I can hear you, barely.
You look like you're walking around.
Sorry, I put it on my phone because I gotta go play with my dog.
Uh-huh.
All right, Matt. Well, we're doing a live hangout on air right now, so just asking that as you join, that you state your name, your school location, and what lesson you're currently on.
All right, my name's Matt Parsons. I'm at C2 River Academy in East Hartford. I'm currently finished with the paint pot projects, and we're going into error detection.
So you're in Unit 3. You're in Unit 3. Is my voice messing up?
Well, it is. He's in Unit 3.
He's in Unit 3.
Hello?
Hey, Aaron, your turn.
I have to try to get this volume up.
Hey, Aaron. He's on the phone.
Ah, okay. There's the phone.
Okay, so with those who couldn't make it, I'm still sharing my screen. We had Eric Henry from the O'Brien School of Math and Science in Boston, and he's following the mobile CSP curriculum very closely. He wasn't a part of the official PD, but he did start teaching mobile CSP last year. And he says he's currently finishing Unit 2, and he added in a lesson on plagiarism and copyright. And then he gives more of an update there. We also had Betsy Dillard from Tolland High School from Tolland, Connecticut. She just finished the last section of Unit 2 today, and she's starting Paint Pot, which is Unit 3, tomorrow. And she said she's doing it lesson by lesson this year. We have Kevin Murphy, who couldn't make it, from Frontier Regional School in Deerfield, Massachusetts. His students are working on their Create projects. He has 2 classes. It seems like with one that they meet every day and one class meets every other. So one class is on their Create projects, and the other class is on Where is North, the Compass app. We had Melissa Farrington from Simsbury High School from Simsbury, Connecticut. She's just saying sorry she was unable to participate. And I believe Melissa is also currently in Unit 3. And we had Cheryl. And Chima, can you help me with her last name?
Shaparsky.
Farsky. She's from the Chase Collegiate School in Waterbury, Connecticut. And she's finishing up Unit 2. Is Aaron back with us yet?
Looks like he's muted.
All right, so we have Aaron from Duran High School in Milford, Connecticut. Okay, so Ralph, do we have, or Timber, do we have any updates for all of the teachers? Anything that's going on with mobile CSP, or any announcements that you want to give?
Chinma, why don't you go ahead?
I don't have any announcements except that if I were given an update on my class, I'm about the same place as everybody else. So I won't call it finished unit 2 because my students haven't written the reflection on Bloom's of chapter 1 with every other thing they've done.
Pauline, you put the link to the agenda in the Hangout chat. Thanks. So I wonder why there seems to be a lot of feedback when I talk. Is everybody hearing that?
I was hearing it on cinema.
On Chinma, but not me?
Oh, I guess now you too.
Yes, background noise as much.
That's weird. That's the first time this has ever happened to me. How about, I don't understand why that is. Is that better now? Can you hear me now?
I can. I muted Laura.
Yeah, okay. I think that made a big difference. I don't hear the background. I don't hear the feedback now.
Yeah. So if you're not talking, just make sure that you're muting your mic.
Okay.
And that just means remembering that when you want to jump in, just to unmute yourself so we can hear you. Okay.
I can report a couple of updates, just sort of extracurricular kinds of things. We're putting in proposals for workshops at a couple of conferences, national conferences, including the CSTA meeting in July of next year, and even earlier than that, another conference in Philadelphia on, what is that? Is that called ISTE?
Yes.
And that is in, when is that? March? It's earlier than July, I think.
In a second.
So we'll be doing workshops at, hopefully, if they accept our proposal, we'll be doing workshops at those meetings.
It's in June, the last week of June.
Okay. I had a meeting with the president of Trinity College and told her about the summer mobile apps for Hartford, and she was very enthusiastic about it and suggested we try having the college raise some money from a corporation. So I'm going to be meeting with the development office soon to talk about that. One really interesting thing that's happened at Trinity is that Jason Rojas Chinma, who's Chinma and I met with to talk about putting in a bill in this upcoming legislative session. He's drafting a bill that he will put in promoting the idea that computer science should be part of the high school curriculum. He was recently named the president's chief of staff. So I think that's a good thing that we have an ally in the president's office at Trinity, one who's also in the state legislature who wants to put in a bill. Chima, maybe you can say a little more about the bill since...
I haven't seen him, I haven't heard from him since then, but the only thing is another person in the education committee is also thinking of putting in a bill. So I forwarded the person's email to Jason, hoping to get a response. I didn't get one.
Ah,
However, this is election period, so they are all very busy.
yeah.
The legislative session won't start till next year. So I think after the November elections, they may be able to get back to their emails. So I'm just leaving most of them till after November.
Right.
After first week of November, maybe they'll start answering emails.
Do you know who was that congressman? Are you at liberty to say?
Um, I just asked Jason whether he knows him and how what the relationship is, how they work together. So I think I need to find out more. What happened was a teacher that attended a workshop knew the man was writing a bill and said, this person is writing a bill, I'll put you in touch with him. So the man wrote, and he's also in an election period. So he said, I'll get back to you after the election.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll leave it till November.
All right. Then the only other bit of news that I have is that we have heard back from Jennifer Mikulik from the State Office of Higher Education, and she is going to be meeting with the superintendent. Is going to be said she's going to be bringing up computer science, and one of the things we're hoping to have her do is help us contact other districts besides the ones we've contacted so far for next year's round of PDs. So we'll report on those when we have more information. I also mentioned that maybe she could help us promote upcoming CS Education Week, which is in December, which we should probably make our next agenda, put on our next time agendas for the Hangout. Is that a good idea? So we can talk about what kinds of things we might be able to do in the schools and whether we can give any help with that. All in favor?
Aye. I think it would be good to have a common message amongst all of us.
So yeah, we can talk about that next time.
Yeah, I agree too.
I think Aaron is still tied up.
I don't know. I think that's a major topic for our next meeting, which is our Trinity 2, or CSTA meeting.
Yeah.
November 17th.
Yeah.
Right, but that's so close to the CS Ed Week that it would be good to get started with a discussion of it sooner. You agree, Chinma?
I have sent out things for the people who are applying for the mini grant and other things. So teachers, I think, have an idea of what they want to do. But if people don't know, then we can talk about it.
Uh-huh. Okay, so any other updates? I see a question here that Pauline has posted about the Martin Luther King app, and there was a Rosa Parks in the MLK project. Do you know who that question came from?
That came from Kevin. So it's a more general question about, are we updating the materials as we go along? I can speak to that. I have made little things, like if I find in the classroom that something was off or mistyped or wasn't quite right when the students went through it, I would just like make a quick edit there.
Yeah.
I know like one thing I've changed that wasn't a huge change, but I remember doing it, was there was a question about the components of a user interface in one of the reflection questions in the beginning of Unit 2. And for the summer, for the online course, it was saying what components make up the UI of a ATM machine. And I went into several classes where they did the lesson, and the students had trouble with that because some of them don't use ATM machines because they don't have their own bank accounts. So I changed the question to say what components make up the UI of a vending machine.
That's good.
Because I feel like more students have access to those, especially like in the schools. Like I was told that most schools nowadays they're having some type of vending machine, and students have come across one at some point, but not necessarily as much. The students haven't been using, don't have as much experience with ATM machines as adults would.
That's a good point.
So Kevin was the one who asked, was Rosa Parks added in? But I went through and I couldn't find anything with Rosa Parks mentioned in it in any of the I Have a Dream apps.
Was it one of the enhancements?
I didn't see it in there. I checked both the student side and the teacher side. And Laura, did you see it?
Yeah, it's in the video.
In the video. Okay.
It's mentioned in the video and it's part of the enhancements where I forgot who made the video. He's like, well, I added Rosa Parks' picture and I guess a snippet of a speech from her or something. But yeah, it was in the video.
Yeah, that's. I seem to recollect that too.
But did it say it was required?
No, just saying added the shake or the vibrate feature, and I added a picture of Rosa Parks. So
the idea was.
It was just like, this is how I changed my app.
Yeah, my recollection is the same as Laura's. I think Dave had it in there as a third button and video, right, Laura? So you'd have MLK, would have Malcolm X, and then he added Rosa Parks. So it complicates the if then else statement a lot if they do that.
Yeah, well, I had them for the project. They had to do at least three, on their own soundboard.
Uh-huh. Did they get it?
They did.
Good.
They did.
Great. So I think that takes care of item number 2 on the agenda, unless anyone else has updates or announcements.
I did have a question on 3.4, representing images.
Uh-huh.
There is a reflection question that is translating ASCII code to binary to spell out like App Inventor rocks. And it just didn't fit with that representing images lesson. So I had to go back and reteach binary and then go into like decoding it into hex and then into letters. So I didn't know if we wanted to look at that.
So you mean it was one of the interactive exercises? Oh, I see. A reflection question?
Yeah, it was a reflection question.
So I just went. I was there when Matt's class did it, and I also was there when our other teacher Jim, when he did it in class, and his students didn't seem to have trouble with it because it built on that knowledge of them having learned binary and then just reflecting on them going back and being able to figure out what the value is of that number in binary. And then once they knew that value, they had to go into the chart and translate it into the ASCII code using the chart. So his class was able to do it based on how they like knowing what that was that number in binary. They were able to convert each number into binary because it built on the lesson that came in Unit 2 on binary.
Yeah, I agree. There was those kids that understood it and were able to do it. It just seemed a little off where it was.
So do you think it should be somewhere else?
I thought it fit better in Unit 2, where it was, like maybe not in the binary part, but maybe in 2.9 or 2.10. It just didn't seem to fit with the image representation piece. I thought it was a good question.
I think I'll add my 2 cents. What I've seen with binary with my students, both AP and CSP, is they get it, they forget it. So I find myself revisiting it from time to time. So having it separated from Unit 2, I think I would prefer, because it helps me go back and talk to them about it. By the time they get to doing the internet section, they'll visit it again, because kids really do. That's my own experience. I don't know. But that's what I would. So even if it doesn't seem to fit perfectly, it's a chance to revisit that topic and then do a little bit more with it.
Yeah, I'm looking at I was looking at the question, Matt, as you were describing it, and I don't see any link to ASCII code in the question. Where was ASCII code covered?
It was in the text version of the lesson. There was a chart that was presented, so you had to figure out what the number was, and then split it in hex into the groups of 4.
Yep.
Figure out the hex number and then the letter.
It's a reflection question, so I shared it.
Yeah.
So I'm sharing my screen right now. I'm in Unit 3.4, and at the very bottom, under reflection, it's the first question in reflection.
Yeah.
And there's a chart that helps you with the conversion that's in the text version. That chart to help you is in the text version, but they basically have to take this binary code and convert it to ASCII.
Well, what we should maybe do, though, is I think we should leave it there for now, as Chinma says, but perhaps we should put a link to that chart right there in the question.
Okay, because it's in this version.
Yeah.
In the text version.
Yeah, but we maybe should just put the link to it so it's convenient for them to go back and review that, or just look it up if it's the first time they're paying attention to it.
Well, this lesson is the first lesson where they do the ASCII code with the ASCII chart. It's just that in the text version it comes up. I'm trying to get to it. It's loading. It's called Representing Characters with ASCII, and there's a chart right here.
Yeah.
And this is in the text version, but this chart isn't in the online version here. It's the videos, and then it asks you to do the conversion, but the chart is in the text version. So
what I can do is I can put a link to a chart like that in the question itself.
okay, you don't want to just link to the text version?
Well, if you can link right to the chart in it, that would be okay too.
If this is a header, which it is, you can just get the direct link.
Yeah.
It would go here. Yeah.
That would be good.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's important. As Chinma said, I agree that that's important to review. But also, this lesson is the main one where the whole idea, one of the learning objectives that the CSP requires is that they understand that binary representations mean different things depending on the context. So it could mean a number, it could mean an image, it could mean a character, and so on. So I think it's good to keep that in the lesson.
I thought it was a good question. I just it wasn't in the online version. So if you put a link to that table right there, I think that would be good.
Okay, great. Any other updates or announcements? Well, we've already gone past 7:40 p.m. Pauline, were you going to do a demo?
Yeah. Okay. So, is my screen still being shared? No. All right. So I wanted to focus on...
You know, one thing that's happening to me when you share your screen is it keeps flashing. Is that happening to other people? Yeah, Laura's saying yeah.
Yes, and also it's small, so you can't read it that much.
Okay. Well, I don't know what I should do then.
No, but continue. We'll get the hang of it.
um,
I mean, maybe I could try sharing my screen and you could narrate it.
then I'd have to tell you like where to click and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, try yours again.
Try yours again. Pauline, yours looks better or looked better a few minutes ago.
That's better. Well, it seems okay now at the moment.
Okay. So a lot of everyone's like pretty much the end of Unit 2, or they're starting Unit 3, so everyone's starting to ask about quizzes. What can we do to quiz our students and get questions and kind of assess how they're doing at the end of the unit? So some of you have actually already created quizzes. I know Megan has created a quiz and she used Google Forms, and I believe also Melissa created a quiz, and I have been trying so hard to figure out how to get a quiz, a Google form template to share with everyone so they could use it. But unfortunately, Google Forms has not been updated completely, so there's no longer that feature. So, but I at least wanted to show everyone how to make their own Google form. So you start by going to Google Drive, and then you would click Create, and then click Form. Instead of making a document or a presentation, you click Form. And it's almost like a regular document. Like you can title your form in the top left. So you could say Unit 2 quiz. And then what it does is when you create that form, it gives you a response sheet. So if I go in here, here's my quiz at the bottom here. It says Unit 2 quiz. And then there's another one underneath called Unit 2 quiz responses. So that's actually a spreadsheet where when people or a student fills out the form, their responses will be shared in the spreadsheet. So right now there'd be nothing in here, but their responses would be in here, and you can see there's a timestamp so you know when they have taken it. So it organizes everything nicely so you can go in and then grade it. If I go back to the form, can create and add questions. You can change the theme too. This is just a blank theme. So if I try to change the theme, I could do like let's see. I like cats, so birthday cats. Doesn't fit, but just to show you an example. And then you can go into edit the questions. So then that's your theme, and you can edit the questions. And say we want to say the question is about binary. So what is 10 and 10 in binary? And you can choose what type of question. You can make it a multiple choice question from the drop down menu. You can make it a checkbox for multiple multiple answers, or you can have them write in a text. So if I did multiple choice, you could add in different options. So I could say, okay, this does it equal 1? Does it equal 2? Does it equal 3? Does it equal 4?
Put in 10.
10. And you can add like hints if you want in the help text. You can make it a required question so they can't skip over it. And you can hit done. And then it looks like this. So what is 10 in binary? 10 in binary. And you can select the answer. And you can keep adding in questions. And you can make it be different types of questions. And once the quiz is ready, I think that's pretty straightforward. Once you get the questions in, once the questions are in, then you can hit send form. And you can get the link and you can share it with your students. You can do like a short URL of copy it. And this is my quiz, right? So it has my theme, it has the one question, and then I can say, okay, I want to say what is 1, 0 in binary. I want to say 2. And then I hit submit, and it says it's been submitted. And then recall that there is a spreadsheet with all the responses in here. So I can open it, and it says, well, I took it at this date and time, and then here's the question, here's what the person answered. So what I didn't do is add a question that asks for the name. You would probably want to have the student put their name in, so you can add a question that has to do with name. But then each student who takes it, there would be an entry here saying when they took it. So yeah, I think it's pretty straightforward. And then the more experience you have with it, like the fancier you can make it. And then that's Google Forms. I know that there are other tools out there. I know Chinma said be Socrative. I added in the agenda, there's a little demo on there that you can go through. It's on YouTube, and you can watch the tutorial. This is a longer tutorial, but it has timestamps in it, so you can choose, like, if you wanted to see how to create a quiz, you could just go to 203 and watch it.
Now say that I want to.
There's also Quizlet. I know someone had mentioned Quizlet, and Quizlet comes with there's a demo video here as well. Could definitely use the YouTube to search and get tutorials if you ever had questions about things. And then,
by the way, one of Hal Abelson's students works at Quizlet, someone I met when I was up at MIT.
Nice. Yeah, this is what it looks like. See if it will let me log in. No, it's gonna make me create an account first. I'm gonna create a set. And the tutorial goes, so you can use that tutorial that's in the agenda, or search for a tutorial on YouTube on how to put it together. It's very similar to Google Forms. You put in the question, put in the different answers that are possible. You can make flashcards, right? And then I had never used this. This is Flubberoo. Kevin suggested this. Flubberoo has an instructional video on its website on how to use it. A little 3-minute demo.
Hey teacher, did you know that you can use Google Forms to give assignments and assessments to your students in classes?
Is it as easy as Google Forms?
Yeah, so I think, so what happens with Google Forms is you notice that in the responses here, there's no way to automatically grade it, right? You have to know what the answer is and then compare the answer to what you could create a answer key and then you'd have to compare.
Is there a way to put a hidden option in the
There's actually a way of doing if-then statements in grading these in the responses.
Was that right?
Yeah, so if so you have to take the quiz yourself first as like a key.
Right.
And then you say if, B1 matches or B2 matches B1, then score at 1, else score at 0. So it's if parentheses like B2 equals B1, comma 1, comma 0, end parentheses. And then you just kind of add it up throughout. I can send a form that has that already listed in. that formula.
You could, if you tried be secretive, can grade for you. The only one it can't grade for you is just the free response section, but true or false, multiple choice, it will grade it automatically and the students will see the scores. If you use it for just one question each time or something, I thought if we had a uniform platform, maybe people can share their quizzes. But
Yeah. You're talking about Google Forms, Chinma?
I prefer be secretive.
I know that Flubberoo was suggested by Kevin because he said it's a plugin for Google Forms. Like the demo that I was showing, the person is talking about Google Forms, and it's a plugin for the grading to grade the assignments for you.
Oh, Flubberoo is a plugin for Google Forms?
Yeah.
Yeah, it takes the place of an if-then statement, so it does it for you.
I see.
If people have time, you could try to look at that be secretive. It's straightforward and simple. You just create the quiz and you send to students, but that's individual test.
You've used it?
I use it.
In the Google Forms, does it automatically correct? Or we have to come up, I'm kind of confused.
So there's two ways. So there's the way that Matt was saying where you can add in like the if statements, but Flubberoo is a plugin that lets you use Google Forms and helps you grade it, right? It's a 3-minute video, so you could watch it. We could watch it now if you guys want. Be Socrative, the tutorial video that I found was a 14-minute video, and I've never personally used it myself, although it looks like it's just fairly simple like Google Forms. So here, I'll share my screen again. So since I was already talking about Google Forms and I showed you an example, I can play the video at Flubberoo and then show you how to see if I can figure out how to make a quiz and be Socrative afterwards. Okay?
Sure.
Hey teacher, did you know that you can use Google Forms to give assignments and assessments to students and classes? And now with Flubberoo, you can quickly grade them too. For this demo of Flubberoo, I created a fake assignment as a Google form, and I've submitted answers myself. All of the submissions were automatically inserted into the destination spreadsheet shown here. Now that I have all the submissions, I'd like to grade them, which is where Flubberoo comes in. Flubberoo is an add-on that you can install from right within the spreadsheet. To save time in this demo, I've already pre-installed it. Once installed, you'll see a new menu called Flubberoo underneath the main add-ons menu. Let's select Grade Assignment and see what happens. In step 1, Flubberoo asks me to select a grading option for each question asked, such as if it's worth points, if it identifies a student like a name or an email address, or if it should be skipped. Flubberoo will do its best to identify the correct option for you. Once I've correctly selected all grading options, I can click Continue to move on. In step 2, Flubberoo asks me to identify which submission should be used as the answer key. Looking through them, I recognize the first one as the submission I made earlier, which I want to use as the answer key. Once selected, I can continue on with the grading. Once started, the grading should finish within under a minute. Great, it's done already. Now I can click on View Grades to see the result. Note that to record the grades, Flubberoo has created a new adjacent worksheet called Grades, seen here in the lower left. At the top of this worksheet is a summary of the grading, including the average score and other useful statistics. Beneath this are the grades themselves, which include the total score expressed in both points and percent, the number of times this student made a submission, and of course the score for each individual question, which in this case is either 0 points or 1 point. Also, for each question, the very last row shows the percent of students who got it correct. Questions on which less than 60% of the students got the right answer are highlighted in orange. Additionally, the names of the students will be in red font if they scored less than 70% on the assignment. Besides grading, Flubaroo has other useful features as well. For example, Flubaroo can show you a report showing the distributions of grades, which you can email to yourself. Additionally, and most popularly, Flubaroo can email grades to each student. You'll have the option to include an answer key or not, as well as a personal message to include in the email.
That's pretty nice.
Thanks for watching. I hope Flubaroo can be helpful to you and your students. Please send comments or feedback to Dave.
Okay. All right, so that was for Google Forms. So we'll go in. You can go in and add it in there as an add-on, like you were saying. He'd have to. I'd have to figure out how. I've never used it. But then Be Talkative, when you sign in, and you can do like start a quiz or do a quick question. From what I've seen, so if I did start a quiz, I'm gonna give this a try. Chinma, feel free to help me create one. Let me do multiple choice. Yeah, I'll leave it. Okay, so I've put in a question and put some answer choices and then selected the correct answer. And you can give an explanation, sort of, I think, Ralph, this is what you like to do, right, to explain?
Yep.
You can put in an image, okay. Put in another question if I want, but I'm just going to do save and exit, I think. Go back to it. There. So now, Chinma, how would I set it up for the students to see it?
You just give the students your room number,
Uh-huh.
and then you go back to the front, the entry page, and say start a quiz. If you go back and go to start a quiz, you select the particular quiz you want.
Okay.
And anybody who gets that types that room number will see the quiz.
Okay.
If you start the quiz, yeah. I can't see your screen well, but if you start the quiz, they type be so creative, and then they'll be able to see the quiz and answer it, and it will give you live results. And if you can indicate whether you want to share people's names or not, or whether you want to see summary statistics.
Okay. I think it's because is it because I'm still looking at it on the teacher side?
You were, yeah, that link you had teacher in it.
Yeah, it's going right to the teacher side.
Go to if somebody else Okay, let me hold on. Let me go to the site, be Socrative, and then I need your room number, which is
3.
You'll have to share your screen.
I can do it for her.
it logs me in as into my own account.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah. Let's see. Let somebody else go. Try be Socrative, and then give them your room number. And then you start the quiz.
So D3009, what was it?
No, it's 32D 00385.
Pauline, show me your screen. Let me see where you are. Have you started the quiz?
I didn't start it. I made one. I put
Yeah,
one.
you made a quiz.
What it keeps doing is signing me as a teacher, so I'd have to sign out before going back. It just automatically signs me in as a teacher.
Okay, I'm in there now. I'll share my screen.
Did you see the quiz, Ralph?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll share my screen here.
And now, if Ralph signs in, you will see, Pauline, you will see number 1 on your screen, showing that one student has signed in.
Okay, see my screen?
Okay. I see I have one under Socrative in the top. It says 1.
Yeah, that means one of your students has signed in. And before the student starts, it will ask them their name and everything.
When it tells me I got the answer incorrect.
Is the answer correct?
No, I put in a wrong answer.
So
can't you see my screen?
I see multiples. I see your screen now.
Yeah.
So you will see that there's one only there. The number of students will be there. It will give you live scores of everybody. There's an option to show children's.
So now Pauline can share her screen again.
You guys see mine?
Yep.
This is Ralph's screen now. That's what
this is Pauline's now.
This is Pauline's screen. Yeah, Pauline, you have 1 at the top there showing that you have only 1 student.
Yep.
Then it will. I can't see well. So it should be able to give you how the students did, and it will ask you whether to display the student's name. I think it's somewhere there on the page where you are.
Yeah, disable student names.
So you can say whether student's name should be shown, whatever interests you have. And then you can ask them to randomize the questions. And if it does randomize it, it still keeps track of the answers, so it doesn't change anything. So students in one room will get the same quiz, but they will come in different orders.
So if you show student names, you should see that I'm one of the. It shows it as anonymous there. You see it? 0%.
Yep.
Yeah, but the whole thing is, if students are in a room, they don't get your quizzes in the same order. So all of them are answering 5 questions, but one person can get number 1 in a different order, but with the same correct answer.
Well, so you mean you do this interactively right in the class?
Yes, it will you just say randomize, and it will randomize the questions. So if students are 5 in a room, each person gets the same 5 questions, but if the answer to number 1 is A for this student, it may be B for the next student.
Right.
It will be graded correctly.
Gotcha.
So there's little or no room, unless they really look at the conversion. There's little or no room for copying from each other, unless they have enough time to compare the numbers.
Well, so those are 3 nice little ways of making quizzes. Quizlet requires you to create an account. The others don't. Well, you already have a Google account, actually.
Right.
You use Google account to sign in.
But you don't need to have an account on Be Socrative, right?
I use my Google account to sign in, so I don't know.
Well, Pauline didn't sign in, did she?
I did. I used my Google.
Oh, you did? Well,
Yeah.
so maybe to be a teacher you do. I didn't have to sign in or anything.
No, students don't have to sign in.
Right.
Right. It's the same thing with Google Forms. If you give somebody the link to fill out the form, they don't have to have a Google account. Anybody can fill it out.
That's good. So we only have a few minutes left. Quick, any questions? It says time for you to ask individual questions. Are there any questions or anything we should know about?
I have a question. I've noticed some people are already on Unit 3. Am I going too slow? I'm just ending Unit 2.
You have a full year.
No, we end in January, and then I start again with a new class.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been taking all weekend. Trying to figure out.
Jim had one semester class that he saw every day for 80 minutes. So he had to do 2 lessons in one day. So what that means is, there he is. What that means is if you're doing paint pot, for example, don't spend 80 minutes doing paint pot 1. Have them do paint pot 1 and 2, and even move on to the projects if they can. They have enough time that you don't have to spend like putting away devices and pulling them back out. Keep them out.
Okay.
You don't have to stop them and have them do the reflection questions. You can just have them keep going, and then they complete the reflection questions for both lessons at the end.
Okay.
Okay. So Jim, can you state your name and your school and where you're located? And then Laura is asking about the semester course, how to make it through all the lessons before January.
Okay, James Fescus, Hartford Minor, Trinity College Academy, Hartford. And basically just keep with the script, and occasionally it depends if you get snow days and stuff, you might have to cut some things out. But that's all I did, is I pretty much stuck with the script, and when it came time toward the end, because of the snow days, we just limited. So I didn't have to do the performance task on the paper, the internet paper.
Laura, one suggestion I might make is I think you should possibly leave more time for some of the latter units.
Yeah.
Than for the first few. So you can sort of figure out your own pace based on how many classes you have and how much time you have. But if you're planning it out, say you've got 6 units to cover, I wouldn't say give each unit an equal amount of time. I would say plan to spend a little more time on the last unit or 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Laura, how long are your lessons?
We have 80-minute classes.
Okay.
Is that what you had, Jim?
Yeah, I had 84 minutes. I focused more on the programming path. I had big data I focused on, but that's not really a focus anymore. We don't have to do the big data project. So I would say focus on the performance task and the paper on the internet innovation, and you should be good.
Okay.
Maybe what you can do, Laura, is have a private hangout with Jim, and maybe ask Jim to share his schedule from last year or this year. You're doing it differently this year, though, Jim, right?
Yeah, I'm doing it every other day this year for the year.
Maybe he could show you his schedule from last year just to give you some guidelines, a rough estimate.
Sure, that'd be great.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't mind doing that. Tonight's not going to be a good night because I have.
Yeah, me neither. I have a cold, so.
They had to put the dog to bed. But yeah, I can schedule something if I'll get your email and we can schedule something and help you through that.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, anyone have any last minute questions or comments before we wrap up?
No, I just wanted to say hi and put in some FaceTime. That's all at the end. I did this last year, so I don't want to jump into Hangout time when teachers may need it. So that's why I just waited to the end. Let's see.
Well, Jim, all we can see is your hair, so you're putting in hair time.
Yeah, I know. I'm on my phone, and I'm about to put my daughter to bed, so I left my laptop at school today.
All right, Pauline, any last comments or suggestions or anything?
Comments? You guys are all awesome.
I second that.
Thanks.
Okay, let's post it on any problems that come up.
My comment would be if anybody needs help figuring out what to do for CS Ed Week, they should reach out.
Can you say that again? Chinma?
I said if anybody needs help with knowing what to do for CS Ed Week, they can ask.
Okay. Jim, before you came, we decided that we would put that on next time's agenda. We'll discuss, that'll be part of the agenda to discuss ideas for CS Ed Week. Chinma, maybe you can tell us what you did at your school last year for some ideas, yeah?
Yeah.
All right, everybody.
I'm planning something different this year. I'm hoping to have a Women in STEM Step C program this year. Pauline, I sent you a copy of it.
Okay.
I sent it yesterday, so I'm hoping it will work out. I want something different.
Sounds good. So we'll look forward to seeing that next time.
Okay.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.